G'day, welcome to this week's Summernats build-up episode. This week, Owen Webb speaks with Rob Zahavi about the very special car they're unveiling at Summernats 34. I went and spoke with Dave, who owns Chopit, the statesman that's had the roof sliced off. They do plenty of cruising around Summernats. That is a very cool car. It pumps Skid Row every single year, goes through sets and sets of tyres. We also showcase a little bit about Summernats and what else goes on there. That's about it. Make sure you stick around for the episode, hit subscribe, hit like. Mad.
I'll be home late, I'm doing my thing. If I don't come back, then I'm back in the wing. We them boys that letting that ring. She knows I'm...
You're about the same, you're a bit taller than me, I think. Stand over here.
Where I put my hands?
Wherever you want. Not on my
I hate being on camera, just so you know.
Dave, what's going on, mate?
Nothing.
So this car here, Chopit's obviously coming to Summernats, mate. Looking forward to cruising around. I know that I always look forward to seeing the car cruising around. It always looks like a bunch of blokes having too much of a good time.
Yep.
So yeah, give us a bit of a rundown on the car.
Summernats 30, I think we went to. First Summernats we'd been to in a while.
Yep.
Went there on foot, walking around. Decided that we didn't want to walk next year, so we should build a Summernats cruiser.
Yep.
We found that on Gumtree. We paid $2,000 for it.
Yep.
We chopped the roof, painted it, got it to Summernats for the
I believe
first
it was
year.
an LS1 motor and box.
It was
for sale.
so it was standard LS1 to start with.
Yeah.
We converted it to live axle rear and put a turbo 400 in it with intentions to skid it all over the place.
Yeah.
Very small little chirpies here and there ended up with us explaining why we should keep our sticker in the Summernats office. We thought after years of going to Summernats never as an entrant that burnouts around the cruiser it was allowed. It turns out that they're not. But it was good because the following year they invented Skid Row.
Yeah.
So for the following year we put a camshaft in that stock LS1 and that was a bit more fun. After we put the camshaft in it, Skid Row, we exploded some radiators and things because it just got too hot. So third year at Summernats, we put it on E85 and that solved our heating issues.
Yep.
It's all standard radiator, standard everything.
Yeah.
That solved our heating issues. So we came home from third year Summernats and we found on Skid Row we could skid with 7 people in it with stockies or with 5
7
people. or 5 people with the 20s on it, and we thought, well, we'd like to skid 7 people with 20s.
Yeah.
So we came home, we went and seen Con, said, where do we get more power from? He said, more cubes. So it's got an LS3 in it now.
Yeah.
With a freshen up, rings and bearings,
Yeah.
and a bigger camshaft than before.
Yeah.
And it made just shy of 400 at the tyres, through a turbo 400.
Not more than enough power to cruise around the cruiser.
Yeah, of
pump
course.
skid row. And
Yeah.
with obviously the motor and the cam setup and the exhausts and stuff, it sounds bloody unreal, mate.
A part of that too was, you know, you can get something to skid that doesn't really want to when you know how to talk to it, but we all enter as drivers. The missus drives it, the friends drive it, everybody drives it, and we wanted it to be able to, the missus to be able to do a skid down Skid Row without having to know how to talk to the car, just push the pedal and skid on demand.
Yeah.
That's where the need for that.
User friendly.
More power, user friendly. Skid without asking it to or having to tell it to. It'll just do as it's told.
When you first brought it home, I guess to get it to this level, obviously was show some pics up of it when you first got it, and then through the process. But then living next to Howard Astle, if everybody will know Howard, that you guys sort of had a few ideas and sort of bumped it.
100%. So we went to the Summernats with Howard.
Yeah.
And through that we've had a few beers there and came up with an idea of building a Summernats cruiser. I think we'll stop at McDonald's on the way home looking on Gumtree. We had bought the car a week after Summernats. I think a week after it was sitting at home in the driveway.
Yeah.
And we came up with all the ideas of what to do. We're going to cut the roof off it, put some extra seats and do all those
Your
sort of
idea to
things.
cut the roof off?
Yeah. That's what we decided to do from the start. That was originally the plan. We were going to try and find a wagon to do it too.
It makes the car right.
We were going to try and find a wagon, but wagons, just LS wagon, powered wagons weren't $2,000 at the time, but an LS powered Statesman was, and we were looking for the longer car to have the most space. So Statesman it ended up being. In hindsight, a wagon would have been better because it would have been more leg room for the back seat person. Where the Statesman.
So you or I aren't sitting in the back.
No. Oh yeah, you can. It's not as bad as you think. But the Statesman adds the space for the back seat people. The wagon retains the same space at the back seat people as a sedan, and the extra space would have been in the boot. Then it probably would.
Do they share a common floor, like the Statesman and the wagon? Is it?
Statesman and wagon share the wheelbase.
Okay.
They share the wheelbase, and the Ute shares the wheelbase.
Okay. And now, obviously, 7 people can go cruising around Summernats. That's the plan, mate, no doubt.
Yep, it's had a lot of help along the way too. PPG gave us paint. Howard gave us a lot of help. Frankie's gave us a big stereo. Biggie Autos gave us a gearbox. Kind of Wollongong Automotive Services has helped us through engines and tunings and a lot of help in that area. I guess something we would like to do with it down the track would be to turn the rear seat from 2 seats into a bench, so we can get 3 in the back, and turn the front seats into a bench, so we can get 3 in the front. So then we can try and get 9.
You can cruise with 9.
We can try and get 9 into it, and we'll probably sometime in the future hit Simon up to help us with that.
He's the man.
That'll be a good job for you, Simon. Whenever you're ready.
You've been recruited, mate.
You've been recruited.
So you've built a killer car that people
and
get around.
The part that people may not understand is we'd come home and bought that car straight after that Summernats. We'd done the underbody stuff. We put the Turbo 400 in it, the live axle in it, and we'd test driven it around while it was still registered. Made sure all that was good before we went and cut the roof off. So it was well into October before, and we were still doing body work. Like we had not finished welding the door shut yet.
Classic case of week before, still fixing the car to get the Summernats.
New Year's Eve we got it finished. New Year's Eve we got the car finished.
A week or so to go.
And there's probably some things we would have liked to have done, but we just didn't have the time. And then because you've done it and it goes now, it's then 5 years later and it's not been changed.
How good of a time did you have, mate? Obviously a good one, the first year.
100%.
The fun you see everybody having and stuff in the times, obviously.
Especially with a car like this, because everybody gets in it.
It's great, mate. I look forward to seeing it at Summernats. I'm sure everybody looks forward to seeing it at Summernats, doing a few skids. How many sets of tyres are you going to take for a skid row, you reckon? A few?
Last year I think we bought some extras down there.
Well, we look forward to seeing Dave at Summernats. If you see him, say good day. No doubt you'll see the car end with the big umbrella hanging out the roof. Staying sun safe. That's about it. All right, mate. We'll see you there.
See ya.
This is a microphone. The closer I talk, the more you can hear me. And I want to tell you something. If you don't get your entries in for Summernats 34, you're going to miss out. And you won't be able to come. And you'll have to sit at home, all sad, with the sads, being sad. Nobody wants that. Flinchy doesn't want that. Mick Brasher doesn't want that. Watsy doesn't want that. Wolger Sikowski doesn't want that. Nobody wants that. Everybody wants you to be happy. Have your car entered and ready to go. Make sure you get your ticket in, mate. Summernats.com.au. Okay. This thing looks like a cat. Meow. Yeah, good at burnouts. Summernats is smashing tyres, and the drifters do definitely. Down here, drifting up back around here, crazy stuff, crazy drifters, they're all nuts. Let's have a look at some of the drift action over the years here at Summernats. Only been here 1 year. Feels like it's been part of Summernats forever. Let's take a look. Can I drift the Statesman? Second gear. Private property, huh? Who cares? Go and drift him, mate. This is the track, ready? They come up around here, down here, down here.
3 hours later.
Round here, back up here, down around here, round here. Mad.
Well, this is something something completely new for Summernats 32, drifting. I've got Dan Cornelia alongside me right now. Dan's going to absolutely send this thing. Here we go. How we doing, Dan? Dan, that was awesome, man. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, happy to take you, mate. Glad you had a thrill.
That was awesome.
They've been going hard. They've been hitting the wall, smashing barriers, big crowds watching it. And it's a fantastic way. You're walking through gate 7, they're turning tyres, going fast, making smoke. So, happy days.
How mad are skids?
Now, this man, number 6 to come out in our top 10. Steve Edsel from Shepparton in Victoria. Huge tube, small block forward with massive revs.
What a moment it's been to get him to here right now in the Burnout Masters top 10, going through the top 30 yesterday, which he got his golden ticket from last year's Burnout Championship. So he's gone through nearly 300 competitors to be here inside this top 10 right now. A massive ask for Steve Edsel. He's bringing his A game.
Well, Steve hasn't been on the national scene too often this year. He's competed in a couple. I think went up to Northern Nats in the far north of Queensland, did the Ultimate Burnout Challenge, maybe Brashnats in Victoria. But apart from that, he's been relatively quiet on the scene, although, man, he's letting the old skid ute do the talking for him right now.
He's going to keep the momentum up. Smoke scores are through the roof, but
yeah,
just going to keep driving that car, using the pad. I just want to see movement. Oh,
smoke starting to thin out just a tad. It's been super thick prior till now, but now it's just starting to thin out a touch. One tyre off the back of the Skid Ute XC Ford Ute.
Easily cleared the 60-second barrier, so not going to be too many deductions here. Good skid, Steve Edsel.
None for my mind, that's for sure.
All right, here we are again with one of our old mates. Rob, how are you, mate?
Good. Yourself? How are you all going?
Well, I don't know. I think we're all looking forward to an event, I think. How about you?
Yeah, look, COVID's kind of kicked everything to the curbside, really. I think everyone's going a bit stir crazy. So Summernats is probably, everyone's sort of, go-to event at this stage.
I know you have been extremely busy, I'm sure, on several builds, but you've got something pretty spectacular coming to this event, this Summernats that we're unveiling, correct?
Yeah, so we're bringing the 70 Cuda that we've been building for probably about 3 years now, which we probably would have brought before COVID, but it's kind of just been put on the back burner, as I'm sure a lot of people in the world, for that matter, have had to do with a few builds. So yeah, it's all finished. We're actually taking it to dyno tomorrow morning. We've got the fella John Grove, his name is, actually built Cam Waters' engine. And he's in the car that we're building for Cam. So he used to be like a head NASCAR mechanical in the US, and because the Cuda's got a NASCAR motor in it, 8 throttle bodies, all that sort of stuff. I think he spent in excess of 15 plus hours already just getting those throttle bodies dialed in for the dyno tune tomorrow. So pretty exciting day for us tomorrow. I mean, the thing sounds absolutely nuts. And yeah, I'll be happy when that's all over and done, because then I can sort of put the engine bay back together and, get it all ready to go.
So, look, obviously we know a couple of things there I wanted to ask you. And one is the real spectacular cars you've built in the past have all been for you, I guess, because maybe you just don't have that customer, or the customer's not prepared to go that extra mile. But at least now you've got a customer that's willing to build that, like get you to build that car, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
How good is that?
The Cooter is, it's a pretty cool thing. Like, he just gave me basically a blank canvas to go off. And then we basically worked with and ran with all that. So I've sort of had creative reign on that sort of thing, obviously running it by the owner as well, because it's not my car. It is a customer's car. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't really ask for a better customer with that sort of build than what I've got. To be able to let me pick the color, take the direction of the build, design things, and pretty much run it like it was my own car anyway. But that's just the dream customer. I mean, you and I have talked about that sort of stuff before, and then when you look at, like, Troy's got Troy Chopit's got George Petit, and so it's really great that now that you've got customers like that. I think it is. Yeah. And you know what? In the next couple of years, I mean, we've got a lot more of them coming as well. Like, our shop's probably solid booked for 3 years at the moment.
Yeah, great.
And we've got a hell of a lot more customers, like the guy that owns the Cooter, Trent, that have given us a little bit of a direction, and a budget, and then we just designed the build to suit that. And that's really what I think in this day and age car building is about. No one as a car builder can design a car unless they know what their end goal is with money,
100%.
It's not so much that you're trying to take every cent out of someone. It's like, you're not going to put a $70,000 engine in a car that you've only got a $100,000 budget to build the whole thing.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
It's a really important way that we run our business in this day and age. We just design a car to suit a budget. We don't run it by the hour anymore. We design it to the budget, we stick to the budget, and if anyone deviates from the budget, customer or us, it's all discussed at the time, and that's the easiest way to run it.
Yeah, that's interesting, because, like, when we run an event, people go, "Oh, how are you going to make it bigger and better," and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't always have to be. And I'm thinking, I know this car's pretty spectacular, but not every car you build now is going to be necessarily bigger and better than the last one. Like you say, you're building to a budget or to a certain customer. So on this one, is it not necessarily is it better, but I'm sure it's you put some more innovation and things like that into this over Havoc.
Look, I don't think anything can really be compared to what we did with Havoc, because Havoc, we just had an open slather of, there was no hours to be justified because it was my car. And but every single car, honestly, I really put the same sort of effort in as what we did with Havoc anyway. But we are guided by what people's sort of end goal is going to be, whereas, like, for instance, I'll give you a perfect example, like Havoc's taillights. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They were $15,000.
I remember from Jesse Greening, weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, are people going to want to spend that sort of money on taillights? I wasn't willing to do that until, as you know yourself, that I built up those few cars under my belt, and eventually, by the time I built Havoc, I didn't pay for it myself. The cars that I built previous paid for that car. So, I was really just putting my hours into it. So, there's so many variations in this day and age with car building. When I was at the Good Guys Nationals in Ohio with the Nova, there was a car there that had a steering wheel that cost $35,000 US. And I'm just looking at that thinking, how the hell do I even compete with something like that?
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter how much we do or how much we spend. I don't think money is a key factor in anything anymore.
I agree. I've been saying that for years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't matter how much someone spends, and we sort of, and this is no disrespect to what we did in America, but we've sort of proved that with the Barrett Jackson Cup. We won over cars that had spent, what I heard, 2 million, 2.5 million plus the US.
Yeah.
So,
So on the Barrett Jackson Cup, that you actually was a fantastic achievement to win that, and over summer cars, like as you were saying, which were probably 4 times the amount of money you spent on that. Yeah.
And it just is a proven fact right there that money doesn't play a factor in creativity.
Correct.
So, you know,
it can give you a bit more license and a bit more room to move on stuff, but you're right. It's got to have it's got to come from the passion, the creativity, like you said.
It does. And look, I think from what I've sort of learnt over the last 2 to 3 years with Havoc being in America is it sort of it changed the playing field over there a little bit, that car. In the sense that there was things in that car that they just sort of weren't ready for, but they accepted it. Whereas in a lot of the stuff that we took over there previous, they were definitely not ready for it. You know, the Barrett Jackson Cup, I wish we could have been there to enjoy it.
I was just going to say to you, I bet you felt like part of your family was in the States and you couldn't even get to see them.
Yeah. So I'm lucky enough to have one of the carers for Chip Foosa's stuff, a real good friend of mine. He went and looked after Havoc for the whole 7 days that it was in Arizona. And I'm confident with him. And look, McGuire's USA get behind me and they give us all the cleaning gear we need and everything like that. So I've got a very, very good, as you know, Owen, a very good connection in America of people that I know that will look after my stuff and trust I trust them with what I have. So Barrett Jackson Cup was a must for me. We got the invitation, as you know. I don't know if not a lot of people know how it works, but basically they invite like 50 people to compete. And then from the 50 people on the first and the second days, they narrow it down to a top 5. And then from the top 5, it lasts another 5 to 6 days until the main auction day of Barrett Jackson, which is on the Saturday. And then they announce the winner. So the way it works is they have 5 judges. They have the head of GM, they have the head of Ford, they have the head of Dodge, and then they have Craig Jackson himself and one of Craig Jackson's CEOs. And they're the 5 people that pick the cars, the top 5, and then from there it goes to a public vote. So
awesome.
It was a very tense week. We were also quite lucky to have a Hollywood heavyweight in there as well, which is the young fellow that's buying the car. And he went over there and represented me as the car owner because he will own it around March next year. And, you know, he was wearing our shirts and had our hats on and all the stuff. And I really couldn't have asked for much more of a team to be over there than what I had. But, yeah, it would have been pretty cool to be there myself.
Yeah. So on that, is this car, is it staying in Australia or are you taking that, doing a tour of the States with it as well?
So it will do Australia for around a year, and then it will, we're not 100% certain what the time schedules are going to be yet, but we're looking at maybe introducing it into US at SEMA show next year.
Okay.
And then we'll tour US for nearly a year with it as well. And it'll basically take over from Havoc. And yeah, there's a lot of events, a lot of people over there that want it. John Bucket, the Grand National, all the guys that run the big events over there know about this car. They've seen pictures of it. I showed them stuff in the building. After Havoc, they're pretty keen and excited to have this thing over there as well.
Yeah, fantastic. So just because we're unveiling that car, so just give us a bit of a brief rundown on it.
So we got the car and there was some work done to it. The owner bought it and it was already sort of had a little bit of work done to it, but we chopped and changed a lot of the stuff. Basically pulled all the insides out of it, then the engine bay, and then rebuilt all the steel work and redesigned it to sort of what we were sort of happy with and what we thought was going to actually do the car justice. Charlie Hutton is involved in it. He's a good friend of mine, and I asked him to actually design this colour for us. Before COVID hit, Charlie was actually going to come out and between me and Charlie, we were going to paint it together.
I remember that,
as you knew anyway.
Yeah.
But then COVID hit and he couldn't fly, so we had a plan B in place. So we kind of left it sit for a little bit to see what COVID was going to do, and then obviously it didn't get much better, so we had to go for the plan B and then look at that basically working it out to paint ourselves. But Charlie actually, it's really cool. I just gave him a vision of the color I wanted verbally, and then he's just such a mad scientist with.
Yeah, isn't he?
He just writes out all these formulas, takes a photo of it on his phone, and sends it back to me. I send it to PPG, and then they mix up this paint, send it down, and it's just perfect. Like,
Yeah.
So the Cuda has actually got 2 different colours on it, even though they're 2 similar colours, but they're actually 2 different paint mixtures. The matte finish that we used on the car is a different colour to the actual outside of the car because they actually didn't. The interior colour that we used didn't look any good with gloss on it, and that's the colour that Charlie redesigned for us.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. I can see you've got something else pretty trick sitting behind you there. What's that? That looks like a satin paint job as well.
Yeah, so this is an XA that we're building for a customer. It's a pretty funny story actually. He came in and asked us to build him a coupe and paint it black, and then all of a sudden I've changed his mind, and now it's sitting in this colour. So we actually went for the AMG Mercedes colour on this, the matte grey. Thought it'd look pretty nice on this, something a little bit different. Very ballsy, I suppose. Painters would understand how ballsy it was to go for.
Absolutely, such a big car to be painting in a matte,
yeah,
not a satin colour. Yeah.
There was no way in hell that I was going to be able to paint this thing by myself. And touch and base with the people at PPG, they said, more than happy to come down and give you a hand. So yeah, there was basically 3 of us on the spray gun in the booth to get this colour laid down. As you know, with matte clears, there's no turning back. If you get any dust in it, you get any imperfections, you got to live with it. So it's actually turned out quite nice, and we're quite happy with it. And this is just going to be a street car.
I'm looking forward to seeing that, but in so many other things, you've got so many other cool things on the build. So before I go, how's the boys? How are they going?
Yeah, they're going really good.
You haven't worn them out yet?
Nah. Look, we're still all working together, so we haven't beat the crap out of each other yet. But no, look, I as a father, I couldn't ask for better. I've actually got my youngest son now, Tyler. He's 20. He's actually starting to get into the business as well now. There's like 5 of us here full time now. So, and even that, if there was 10 of us, we still couldn't keep up with it. It's that crazy at the moment. There's just never a dull moment, never any rest. We've got, I think 30 builds on the go at the moment.
Well, I've got just what you're saying there. I've got 22 cars unveiling at Summernats, and already got 20 cars on the list, on the unveil list for MotorX. So it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. COVID craziness, hey?
Yeah, and I think
everyone's just been building cars.
Yeah, just cars, and I think it gave a lot of people the impetus to finish those cars as well. There was a lot of them on the go, which they hooked in and got finished, and yeah, so it's good.
Yeah, mate, and that's the thing. Well, I mean, none of us could travel, so people were sort of spending their money on their projects that they've probably been building for a long time.
Yeah, and got a bit of time to themselves to finish those things, and
exactly.
Yeah. All right, mate. Look, I thank you for that, and really looking forward to catching up with you at Summernats and ripping the covers off that car.
Yeah, look, I can't wait most importantly, just catch up with everyone that you haven't seen for a long time.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, I mean, we've all been kind of living in a border bubble. It'd be really cool to catch up with everyone that's, everyone's got the same sort of passions and see what everyone's been doing, because it feels like it's been years.
It's going to be a great event. So many, got more entrants than ever, more unveils than ever. There's so much stuff going on. So yeah, bring it on.
I look forward to it, man. I can't wait.
Good on you. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for the chat.
No worries. See ya.
The Fitzroy Pavilion behind me is the home for the Haltech Horsepower Heroes. Over the years, we've seen some crazy things, like way back in the days with Jason Gray making 500 horsepower, taking out Horsepower Heroes, to Summernats 32 with Dale versus Mark Hinchelwood's blower versus turbo. Absolutely insane. If you were in there and you never had earplugs in, you probably can't hear this video right now because they were blown apart. The action in the dyno cell here for Summernats 34 is going to be crazy again, but let's have a look at some of the crazy stuff from the years gone by.
Yeah, so last year it made 3,076 horsepower. This year we've changed turbochargers, a torque converter and a fuel pump so we can wind it up a little bit more. And so far it's made 3,371. The turbos are Garrett 98mm Gen 2s and they're running up into the beautiful Plazaman billet intake manifold. The whole engine is controlled by a Haltech Elite 2500. It's got Turbo Smart wastegates and blow-off valves on it. It's got a Al's Race Glide Turbo 400 with a Pro Torque converter, and Speedy diffs have done us a 9-inch diff for it. Oh, look, we want to make 3,500. I reckon it'll do it pretty easy now. It's dropped a few degrees, so I'm just worried about the smoke. It's pretty smoky here, so as long as that doesn't cause too many dramas, we should be right. Oh, it was a little bit cold on the first pull, I think, and it's yeah, it was putting a bit of raw fuel out of the pipe, so I just didn't quite get it hot enough, but went 34.70, so that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. The rods are still in it, so it's what I thought it would make. I only put 5 pounds in it, so we made it out of 100 with 5 pounds. If someone comes along with a Hemi or something like that with a pair of turbos on it, yeah, we know the blowers can't cut the mustard, but you know, the set of turbos will probably come in and yeah, if that was a Hemi, it'd be 4,300 horsepower. So we'll go get it off on Tough Street now and yeah, give it a bit of a workout out there.
That's the end of the show. Make sure you click subscribe, make sure you click like, make sure you get on to summernats.com.au, get your tickets to Summernats, because summertime, as you can see, means Summernats, mate. So the event's coming up very soon. It's only weeks away. We cannot wait to get there and party with all of our mates. That's it. We'll see you later. And man, check this out, mate. Look at this. Look at the beach, mate. Beautiful. Look at the 5 litre Statesman. Mad skids. Might even do a skid on Skid Row in the old Statesman. If we can get 500 likes in this video, I'll pump some tyres on Skid Row in the standard Statesman. Got about 40 horsepower, but we'll give it a go. Mad.